Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. One of the coolest holidays of the year is coming up. Wonderful and magical time. Yeah. But still, before the cool holidays, let's talk. Uh, I introduce to you Tanya. Tanya is a test team leader and she has something interesting to tell our topic. Tanya, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me this beautiful Tuesday. So I'm sharing my screen and let's talk. Today, our topic is a very popular one, agile testing and how it differs from other methodologies. Actually, I guess every iron now says about this agile testing, and there is no one who hasn't heard about it at least once. But today we're going to make a talk more productive if we not just discuss popular definitions and how to treat them and how to work with agile and how to test with agile, but we'll go further and let's introduce the agenda of our talk today. We'll have some kind of introduction first of all, then we'll see agile or not agile, and that is a question. We'll review the benefits and drawbacks of agile testing, go through practical nuances and so-called life hacks or how to do better when you are so happy to face agile testing in your project or your team. And then we'll spend the rest of the time we have for this talk on your questions and our mutual discussion about this interesting topic. Because of the new year coming, all my presentation is full of this tips and tricks just to make the spirits accordingly. So let me introduce firstly myself, as Tatiana already said. Um, my name is Tatiana, and I am software testing team lead at EPAM. I'm 2 years here already, and my majors here is functional quality assurance, but I'm doing some campus SFT coordination and a resource manager as well. On the picture, you can see myself in the middle and my inner child on the one side and my inner grandmother on the other side, because I believe that every tester should have inner child and inner grandmother, because we need to both of them to help when we face with our work. We need the children's curiosity and the ability to criticize as our
Tatiana,
grandmothers have.
Tanya, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Hmm.
The slides do not change. It's normal.
What slide can you see now?
The beer,
Okay, that's very strange. What about now?
don't change.
Mm, a second, let me
Yes, yes,
see what
yes,
can.
yes. I see agenda. Agenda thinking.
Just a second, I'll try to reshare. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just a
So sorry, guys. We have some technical problems. Just a minute.
I'm really sorry. Do you see my screen now?
Yeah, yeah. I see.
And can you see the screen now?
Yeah, yeah. See. I see.
Is it changing?
The beer and bowl. The first page. I see the
Oh,
first page.
it's not changing. Why it's not changing? I just can't can't understand it. All right, let me do it again. That's really strange. I have never faced this situation before, but let me have it right from the browser. So maybe it's
Mhm.
not of the. I don't know. Let's check for the browser. Ah, that's actually very strange, but things happen. Hmm. Um, I'm not sharing the screen now, and I will share it in a second. Share the screen, share the screen. Here it can you see the screen now?
Tanya, I don't see your screen.
um, what can we do then?
Yes, yes, yes. The winner
You can
is C.
see.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, that's cool. So you can
That's
see the
cool.
screen, and uh, let me see. Does it change?
Yep, yep, yep.
Oh,
The perfect. Folks, so
cool.
sorry.
That's cool.
Right.
So sorry for that problem, but it happens. Being tester, you face these situations every day. Any failure, any errors, any issues. But anyway, let's start from the very beginning. So today we have a very popular topic, agile testing and how it differs from other testing methodologies. And as it's a very popular one, I believe there is no one who has never heard about it. But today we're not going to talk about what other popular things are, like definitions of agile testing and how it can be useful for you, or what can we do with it. And we wouldn't see, or we wouldn't review the schemes and like pictures about this. On the other hand, we'll do this kind of agenda. We'll have some kind of introduction, then we'll answer the question agile or not agile, then review the benefits and drawbacks, and go to practical nuances and how to do better when you are happy to be in an agile project as a tester. And the rest of our talk will discuss and answer your questions if you will have some questions. So let me introduce myself. As Tatiana already said, my name is Tatiana, and I'm software testing team lead and functional quality engineer since 2009, um, doing some campus software testing coordination in Kazakhstan, and some resource manager job as well. And on the picture, you can see myself in the middle, as I already said, but you haven't seen the picture, and my inner child on one side, my inner grandmother on the other side, because I believe that testers and all quality engineers, or anyone who is working with such kind of job we do, should have the curiosity of a child and some kind of ability to criticize everything, as our grandmothers usually do. So let's go further. Um, to start with, let's see the main differences between agile testing and traditional testing. And I believe that traditional testing here refers to kind of waterfall testing, or some kind of mixed testing, when we have some understanding of the workflow, when everything starts after something ends, and it cannot be mixed, and it cannot be done in any other order. But in agile testing, it says like we are adaptive, we are flexible, we can do whatever and whenever it's appropriate for us, and it starts with development at the same time, and uh, it's again very adaptable to changes. And let's see how it works. When we start our job at a Scrum project or any Agile project, maybe we always compare it with waterfall. Like we have this very popular model of comparing when we have skateboards and we creating a bicycle, then it's a motor roller, and then it's a car. And when we have waterfall, we are not doing this steps by steps uh, manufacturing, but designing a car from the very beginning and then do some magic and the car is ready. But actually, I don't believe that this very beautiful picture about agile, when you have this transformation from skateboard to car, really happens nowadays, because it can be done only for very little number of projects. Actually, when you have a kind of maybe mobile application, when you have only one button, then you add some more buttons on the next iteration, then more buttons, and so on. But usually, when we start a mobile application, we already need to have quite a lot of things to do with this application, and it's mostly about designing a car and doing some magic and having a car in the end, but in very short terms. So that's why I believe that agile testing is not about only adaptation and flexibility, but mostly depends on the team you work with, because the different teams and different roles in those teams can really impact on the way you do the testing and on the way the testing should be done uh, in this team or in this project. So sometimes we are like superheroes who save the world, and sometimes we are the villains who destroy this world, just to be sure that everything is good for making a new world better, for example. Let's see what kind of agile teams we have nowadays, so we can um, understand how can it impact on the way we test. Usually, we talk about classic model of agile team when we have scrum master, developers, and the product owner. Actually, it's a scrum model. Or when we have developer teams and some kind of product manager and stakeholders, for example. It's kind of classic team when somebody is owning the business processes, and the other part of the team is doing the technological part of the thing, like engineering, coding, testing, and so on. And but nothing is so like in this world we don't have this classic agile teams anymore, because as agile and scrum evolved with the time, we had a lot of hybrid teams, a lot of modified teams, and we can divide them into this maybe three three types of the teams, like role oriented, when we have roles, not specialists, not something else, but roles in the team, and any person in the team can play one role or two roles or maybe even more roles. And when for this team it is in need to do some more roles, the team just adapts to it and finds any person in this team who can fulfill this role and to perform it. And the second type is like process-oriented agile team, when we adapt to the processes, because we have, for example, development, we have analysis, and we have testing and maintaining of the product. Like maintaining, I mean the support and some improvements and so on and so forth. So this is the process-oriented agile team when we don't have accents on roles or people or specialists, but we are looking on the processes. When we do needs analysis, we take the Scrum on the analysis with the whole team. When we finish the analysis, we go on with development. Then we finish the development and start doing testing all together and so on. So the process are the main thing in this process-oriented agile teams. Then we have the task-oriented agile teams when we are making accent on the tasks like tickets or user stories or features. They can be on board or they can be in some Jira or any other systems. But the main difference here is when you have the task-oriented agile team, your testing is uh, mostly like acceptance criteria oriented testing of the task. You have a task or a feature which is made by the whole team, and everybody is adapting to this task. No matter what process, no matter what role you have, you are paying all your attention on the task value and on the task goal. And of course, we have a lot of mixed teams, like with a role and process and task mixed with different uh, percentage. On this picture, you can see mm, I guess a perfect way of how a role-oriented agile team can be demonstrated. Like we have software developers, we have architect, project manager, quality engineers, designers, and business analysts. And this business analyst means about being the analyst as a role, because a project manager or architect or developers or quality engineers can do the analysis too. And the same goes to UI UX designer, because we all as um, a part of the team can do the researches and help to design some models or schemes or uh, mm, how to say CGMs for users we will implement in the future. Let's switch to Agile quality engineering top 10 benefits. And as you can guess, if we have top 10 benefits, we will have top 10 drawbacks. But let's begin with benefits. First of all, of course, it's about shift left principle that we have in Agile testing, and it helps us a lot to save money, to save time, to do a lot of things before we can see the code working on some test environment. And it's a huge benefit for agile testing, because in traditional testing you cannot shift left. You are not allowed to go there before the product is ready for testing. Second one is the loose planning, because of a lot of changes that can happen anytime. You are not forced to do some strict planning and write everything ahead of uh, when it happens, and you can just make some points or milestones and just adapt on the way when you do some things going on. And when we go to the third point, it's about refinements. In agile teams, we usually, as testers, participate in lots of refinements because of the changes, because of the things that happen all the time, all around the team and the product and the processes. We usually just go and assign some refinement or schedule some refinement and talk about anything. And it's a huge benefit for us, because it gives us a better understanding of the way we should test and of the way we should do the things to bring the value to the user more effectively. And the fourth one is one of my favorite ones, is definition of ready, definition of done, and other rules that Agile has. like the manifesto and all the things we do have in Agile. Because when we have some rules or recommendations and everybody is aware of them, it really helps testing. It's not like when you have some traditional testing methods and approaches when uh, it's just you think that they should know something, or you don't think, but you should go and discuss everything before you start working so everybody is on the same page. But here we already have these rules and you just refer to them, and it saves you a lot of time. More freedom is just evident. Fast feedback is about iterational things. When we have shippable things to deliver every second week and can get feedback from our users and stakeholders and product managers and product owners very fast. We have retrospectives every second week. We can think about what to do better, what was wrong, on what was right, and what to continue doing and what to stop doing. And we have quality gates in release management as ourselves. I mean, the quality engineers, the testers, are becoming the quality gates. You are not allowed to go to releases until the quality gate is um, passed. Like, and quality gates means often that the testing should be finished successfully, everything should be finished successfully, the documentation is ready, and definition of done is in place. And next thing about benefits is the various things of testing, like user acceptance testing, the fit testing, acceptance task development, and so on. It's and it grows. This list grows every day. We invent new approaches, new kinds of testing every day, just to adapt to the agile testing. And um, last but not least, here is the cooperation. Uh, by cooperation, I mean that when we work in agile, with all these changes and all this flexibility, the main instrument and main tool for us is being able to cooperate with all the participants, because when you just lack this skill, it all goes nowhere, because you will stuck and you will be a blocker or a bottleneck, and all the benefits of this agile testing will just be nothing for the project. But this is what you already might know. What about agile testing top 10 drawbacks? And believe me, there are a lot of drawbacks in agile testing too. For example, the most popular and most maybe evident one is unpredictability of agile projects. When we test in traditional approaches, we usually can predict what scope of testing we will have and what kind of tools we will need and how much time it would take and so on. But when we have agile testing, we can only guess that it would be the way we think it would be, but actually everything can change anytime, and you know about it. Challenges with communication. Yes, it happens, because no matter how communicative you are and how skilled you are with soft skills, there are a lot of people who can be on vacation or on sick leave, or just not so skilled in communication as you are, or maybe you are lacking some maybe communication skills. And there are a lot of challenges with communication every day when we face agile testing, actually. And especially for us in EPAM, when we have mm, different time zones, when we write or try to call to our colleagues which are maybe in different time zone and sleeping at the time, or we can be out of office when they try to connect us, and so on. Next thing is the poor estimation. It comes from the unpredictability, because when we cannot predict the certain amount of things we would do, it's really difficult for us to estimate the efforts and to estimate the things we have done already to understand what to do to make it better. And in this field, we have a lot of things to be introduced and discovered and reopened and so on. Nowadays, um, we can see that people are inventing some things about this estimation for agile, and it still lacks a lot of um, how to say quality because estimations is really loose for now for agile projects. The time constraints is a big problem for agile because usually in agile we have sprints like 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks long, and some features or some tasks or bugs are just cannot be fit in this time, and they just keep on being moved from one iteration to another iteration, or just team tries to decompose this task on little pieces and then to compose them into one, and it really mm, can make people suffer a lot. That's why sometimes some tasks, when they need more time on being analyzed, more time on being implemented, and more time on being tested, they look like not fitting in agile, and it's a pain for quality engineers to deal with such tasks. Another drawback in agile testing is about human factor because of agile being quite young actually approach and testing, and not in testing but in our nowadays life as well. It happens that a lot of people are not ready for it. They are trying to uh, their mindset are not ready for agile. They are doing things in like a waterfall manner. Like they want to do, for example, first of all they want to do planning, then they want to do coding, and then they want to do testing and so on. And mixing all these processes makes them really suffer, and they just how to say, they just don't want to do it. They resist these changes. And it can be really a pain in the neck when you start testing and a lot of people around you don't want to do agile. Overlap in processes and more regression are just connected with each other because of this time constraints. When we have changes, shippable changes every 2 weeks or every week, depending on uh, what your iteration is long, and we have a lot of more regression. Usually we do have automation for regression, but sometimes in the projects we don't have any automation, and this regression is what we do every iteration. And we are making some one little change, usually just to be sure that at least this shippable thing is on production next iteration, and we need to do the regression for the whole application. Then we'll introduce another little thing and do another regression. And sometimes, because of these little things and regression, the processes can overlap with each other, and you can just mix them, and you can do some analysis in the end, and on the other hand, some testing in the beginning of this process. And it can just mix your thoughts in your brains, and you can just be tired of it. The boundless work is another drawback that agile testing has because of this never-ending changes and because of unpredictability of these projects. We usually don't have any boundaries in our work. Sometimes it looks like endless work actually for testers because in the first part of iteration you might be doing some analysis and handling with the changes and doing some communication, and then at the end of this iteration everything is ready for testing and you're just a bottleneck, uh, and you have to do overtimes or to move these work items to another iteration every other sprint. Gaps in documentation is an evident thing that everybody knows that because of Agile says that processes and people are more important than documentation. It doesn't mean that documentation is less important, but people just don't remember about that. They see only the first part of this manifesto thing, like people and processes are more important than documentation, and they forget about documentation. And a lot of agile projects, we have these gaps in documentation. Some people or some teams just forget about writing documentation or write them, but very briefly because in the moment they understand it very well, but and then don't care what would be who would be reading this or doing this or dealing with this in the future. And of course the main like drawback of agile quality engineering job is the burnout. I strongly believe that the popularity of burnouts nowadays is uh, has its root causes in agile approach to, because when we have this agile, it's not only about testing. Uh, it appears to happen in everyday life for every one of us, not only in IT or in our jobs or anything else. We are forced to be adaptable and flexible, like we are doing in agile projects. We are doing this in our everyday lives. We need to be flexible and to be ready to react to any changes, to fix anything that happens suddenly, and to be ready to communicate a lot, to cooperate with a lot of people, to uh, address the issues anytime they happen. And I don't believe that it's possible for a person to do it non-stop for a long time. So the burnouts are just uh, the things that we cannot just forget about it and go on. We will face the burnout earlier or later. But not everything is so bad. Let's go through the practical nuances and see how we can address the drawbacks and see how can we do better and succeed with agile no matter of the things we have uh, bad in them. Usually we do see this agile SDLC as this picture shows us. Like we have uh, the phases, and from each phase we can go further or back and so on. But for testing, it usually looks like this. On the left picture here, like with the name of SDLC, you can see the perfect cycle of testing. Like we have the requirement analysis when we're designing the test cases and we implement it, testing execution, evaluation, like maintaining and doing some improvements. But on the other picture, you can see what agile testing life cycle looks like when we have uh, a kind of different things to do within the main SDLC, like you see on the, let me say, is left for us or is right. Uh, Actually, we do need to do the impact assessment. We do need agile testing planning, and it's not like one day thing. We are doing it every day because of the changes, of course. We are making release readiness uh, exercises just every other day, daily scrums, and test agility review for maybe a couple of times an iteration as well. So this is the practical in essence for quality engineering, for testing in agile, and it's not about the standard. It's about doing the things um, flexible. In fact, when you see the picture of classic Scrum team, you can see the product owner, the Scrum master, and developers. And a lot of people uh, forget that developers means not only the people who make the code, but also this person with Q in his hand is definitely a quality engineer or a tester. And this person might be a UI UX designer because he loves people and wants to help them. And but usually, as our mindset is treats the developers like it's developers, and even for sometimes when we say target development date for completion for some tasks, developers usually say that they will do it, for example, in a couple of days, and forget about that. Not only them should be involved in this estimation, but also the analytics and quality engineers and designers and everybody who is called developers in here. And I would call it like not developers, but engineers or maybe some kind of things. But what we see is what we get. And actually, why I'm writing this, in fact, when we do testing in Agile, it looks like this. Not the picture I showed before when we have very strict maybe phases, but we have all these phases like test execution, implementation, estimation, analysis, test plan, and test design every now and then, not uh, one after another, but anytime it's needed, like it's shown on this picture. So this is the main thing we should remember first of all when we test in Agile. But we know that Agile teams determine that what works best for the team is is what should be called an approach for us. This is the main idea of Agile that can help us because of all the drawbacks and all the benefits we have in Agile testing. When we remember this postulate, like we need to determine what works best for our team and then go with it. We shouldn't go with all the benefits and shouldn't suffer from all the drawbacks we have listed before, but we should adapt not only the processes of development, but also adapt the approach we use inside the team. And here we can see how can we do better. For instance, the first thing here is team knowledge and skills are essential because when we do agile testing, it's not like anybody can be a loser here because when we do agile, it looks like we can substitute each other. We can help with analysis when analytics are busy. So analytics can help with uh, UI design. They can do the testing. Uh, Developers can help with automation testing, and even quality engineers can help with code review if they have such skills. And I used to do this code review a lot of in my career. So team knowledge and skills are essential. And if you pay attention to this, your work with agile teams would be much easier. Second is do notes. It's about any notes. It's about documentation, about instruction, any tips and tricks you can use during your project. You just open your knowledge base and do notes every time you know, learn, or face something new and something worth noting. It will help you a lot and it would make a huge knowledge base for your future implementation and for other teams who would like to do something in the code you did and the project you did. Uh, the next thing is research whenever and wherever possible. When you have some capability and on the team, it doesn't mean that you need to take another user story or feature from the backlog immediately. Just keep your mind on doing researches, because the conditions in agile changes very rapidly, and you need to pay attention to researches and refinements every now and then, even sometimes even every day. For example, nowadays I'm working in a project when we do researches every day, actually for half an hour, sometimes an hour a day, and it helps a lot because we usually get new information every other research. And we shouldn't forget about business value, because the business value equals profit. Sometimes when we test in Agile, we work very closely with developers and just forget about business value, because we start thinking the way developers think. We start thinking how we should do it, with what technologies and what kind of approaches and functions, and where we should save this identity stuff and so on. But we never should forget about business value, because when we don't get business value, we wouldn't get the profit, and all the work would be pointless, no matter how beautiful it would be from the technological way of seeing. And the testing with different names. What do I mean by testing with different names? Is like when you are in a agile team, you test, but it's not called testing every time, because when you work with analytics, you do analysis, but it's testing. It's testing the conditions, it's testing the requirements, and it's testing the processes. It's but it's called analysis. When you go with UI UX designers on researchers and doing some models and design some kind of schemes or CGMs or something like that, you are testing the circumstances as well. You are testing the values you will do in the future, and you are testing mm, the ideas of your team to be implemented in the future, and so on and so forth. So when you are in a agile team, you do testing of everything that surrounds you. It can be with different names, but anyway, it's validating and verification of the quality of the things that surrounds you, whether they are the projects or the people skills or the approach you are using or even ideas. The next thing I want to accent, its collaboration is key, and grooming is another key. As I used to say before, it's like connected with communication and research whenever and wherever possible. But grooming is like why we need grooming, because in agile testing we have loose planning, and if we wouldn't have grooming, the loose planning will lead us to loose user stories descriptions and to loose results of testing, and we will not have a quality product. We'll have an approximately good product, and we need this grooming and collaboration every now and then. And uh, naming convention can save lives. How it happens? When you work on a big project or a long project, naming convention can really help saving lives, because you have a lot of things to remember. And if you have a naming convention in Agile, you can easily find, refer anything on your project, especially when you have test cases and test plans and requirements all around your project. And this naming convention can really be your anchors for your uh, better testing. And last but not least, uh, team health matters. What does it mean? I put a picture of the work-life balance here, because of, as I told before about burnouts, and like it's a pain of agile teams actually. We usually have these metrics and every agile team to check whether the team is psychologically able to do the stuff. They feel secure, they feel energized, and they feel like ready to do the things they want to do, and they are not burnt out. And you should keep an eye on this because you are not only quality engineer for the product you are doing, but a quality assurance engineer for the process you're having. And the process and the products are better when you have healthy people on the product. So this is what I wanted to tell you today, and I tried to make it a really um, easy going and not very problematic because of the coming holidays, just for you to think about it and maybe to get some insights about agile testing and maybe understand how to improve them on your project or maybe in your life, because in everyday life we do agile as well. So thank you so much for having me tonight, and I'd love to have a discussion with you. Tatiana, the floor is yours. I'm
Yes,
giving
yes,
you the
I
word.
see. Wonderful day. Thank you for the wishes. Thank you, Tanya. Colleagues and friends, maybe you have some questions to Tanya, or am I right? And Tanya explained everything in great details. I wait a few minutes. Maybe you have the questions. I don't think. I'm not seeing. Maybe I'm right. Tanya, it was very, very interesting. Yes, really, really interesting and
Thank you.
useful. For me, especially for me, I think, and all our guys too.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, no questions.
Mm, no questions. No questions. No questions. Yes, I'm right. You explain everything
So that's
so
very
well. No
cool.
questions. Very
That's
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
Actually, it will save us a lot of time.
Maybe. Oh, so. No, no, no. Mhm. I think a question, Tanya. So sorry. A question from Alena.
Hmm.
Alena asked me, or you, still unclear how we can process all the negative factors we have while Agile is applied.
Hmm. I tried to describe the how to say the main points when we can address all the issues. But let me show you again the slide with the picture. Actually, some of them are just not the things that we can address, like unpredictability because of the changes, and this is the feature of agile, for example. But when we have the challenges with communication, or for example human factor, we can go to the points here and doing the researches with people wherever and whenever possible, and collaboration and grooming, you can fix this problem. When you have the poor estimation, and you can go here and do the again the grooming, and not forgetting about business value, and doing notes and team knowledge and skills, it would how to say reduce the
Yes.
bad impact of this poor estimation. And moreover about, for example, more regression and overlap in processing, and you can go to testing with different names when you do the analysis, and all the other stuff I have described before. It can save you a lot of time because you're shifting left, and a lot of things can be eliminated by this. A lot of overlapping can be eliminated. About boundless work, I still don't know how to address it because I do suffer of this boundless work as well, and still in I'm searching for a way to do it. So maybe on the next talk I'll find it and tell you about it. And about the gaps and ducks, it was told in this uh, thing, and about the burnouts. We are talking about team health that matters a lot. So we should keep an eye on it and don't try uh, to make people suffer on your project, because quality is quality starts from the people first of all.
Okay.
That's probably it.
Okay, thank you. And Tanya, Evgeny, interesting about your experience of working on the project, the Scrum Spring, there 1 week long. It's special.
My experience.
Your
Okay.
experience.
Yeah,
Spring
we
1 week.
had a couple of years, maybe 5 years ago already. I had a project which was very, very fast. We had a couple of months to finish Messenger for our company, and because of that, we already knew what kind of messenger we want. We decided to make sprints like 1 week long, and it was like on Monday we did planning for the sprint, uh, planning with all the processes, and then started working. Then quality control on Wednesday, and uh, demonstration and sprint review on Friday. That was really quick, but we had only 4 people on the project, and it was very nice actually, because when you have professionals and there are not a lot of people to communicate it, it can be easy to do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. The guys say thank you and support you. Especially it's very difficult when you are one tester on the project. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And
It's,
have one not questions, but thank you on the stream. Let me show.
oh, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so
Thanks a
much.
lot. Thanks a lot, Tanya. It's very cool. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So, colleagues and friends and Tanya, thank you again for joining us.
Yes, Tatjana.
Yes, yes, we and whole team wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope we see you next year. Yes?
Of course we would. And it
Awesome.
would be even better than this one, because
Mhm.
everything's getting better from time to time.
Yes.
And thank you so much for having me tonight. And
Thank you. Thank you,
thank you for your
guys. Merry
attention.
Christmas. Happy New Year. We love you.
Happy New Year.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.